Well, good morning everybody. Last time we were looking at this little Toro 60 volt cordless recycler mower here. We had an unboxing, we looked at it, looked over it, and we give it a little run over the buffalo at home. Now obviously, I said to you guys at the time, this time of year it's really hard to find some decent length of grass to mow. There wasn't much coming off the buffalo. Today, however, I've found a nice patch of lawn here. This is one of my favourite grasses, maybe not, Kikuyu. So I'm not actually sure if you guys in America get Kikuyu grass over there, but this is probably about as thick as what you'd find in an Australian backyard. So in places this lawn is actually closer to a foot tall. So generally speaking, the lawn's about, there's a bit 8 inches, so 6 to 8 inches. So what we'll probably do, we'll set this at about 3 and a bit inches. These guys don't cut their lawn super short, but this will be a good test. So what we're going to do today, we've got this side here, and then just behind me, I don't know if you can see it on camera, is a pathway. So what we'll probably do, this area here, we'll use the bagger. So we'll see how it performs bagging this longer grass. There is still a bit of moisture on it from the dew and the fog we had this morning. So that'll give us a good idea of how it goes catching grass. Being a smaller shoot, I'm probably a little concerned that it may clog up, but we'll just see how far we get before it does and that sort of thing. On the other side of the path towards the back there, then we'll go on and try how it mulches. So we'll test its mulching capabilities, and it's a bigger area over there, so I'll measure it out in a minute, but I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. It's a much larger area, and yeah, so we'll just sort of put it through its paces. I mean, to be fair, most people who are sort of looking into battery mowers aren't the sort of people that are going to let their grass grow really long, because if you're going to invest more money into a battery machine, then you're more than likely to be more interested in keeping your lawn trim and tidy. This is probably an extreme test, but it's one that I want to see, you guys want to see, so let's make it happen, guys. Righto, so first couple of runs there, and look, it didn't struggle at all. I checked the bag at the second run. I thought it might have been clogged in the chute, but no clogging, no. So everything there's working fine. Could probably even go down one notch lower. So what we might do that now. We'll just drop it down one notch and quickly run over this again, and then move on to the stuff that's yet to be cut. Right, that was probably just a little bit too low. You can see now we've got a bit of scalping, a bit of yellowing. Just goes to show how effortlessly this is cutting through that. If this was a petrol mower now, maybe that's a job for another day, put two side by side, but in all seriousness, that's pretty impressive, really. Really happy with how that's just mowing through it. And to be honest, the bag hasn't clogged at all yet. As I said, damp grass. So we'll just push on, see how far we get running the mower through this thicker grass. Well, I've got to be honest, this thing just now has probably really surprised me. It did not even raise a sweat. The motor sped up a little bit, obviously, but there's been no clogging of the chute. Bag's probably chockers now. So I've got to be honest, this thing seems to catch grass better than the super recycler I've got at home. So they've obviously done some voodoo under the deck here, because this one has a much better catching ability than it. But yeah, look, bag's full, hasn't clogged, hasn't done anything like that. I just want to show you up close. This is a really thick lawn. Obviously we're not going to cut right down here, that would be silly. This grass has been trained to be cut a bit taller with the ride-on lawnmower. But seriously, this electric mower has not bogged down at all. As I said, I've lifted that height back up because this was just too low, especially going into winter. That's pretty much the perfect height for this time of year and how this grass has been previously treated. I'll put on the screen when I get home exactly what height this is, but as you can see, it's still nice and thick. Beautiful, nice Kikuyu lawn. If you're into Kikuyu, it has its place. It's just not my first choice of lawn. But anyway, yeah, so look, I think it does a pretty good job at catching. This is a really thick lawn. It hasn't struggled in the slightest. So now we'll just see how it goes mulching. Righto, well, it's just going through that like an absolute knife through butter. It has continued to surprise me. I've said this 1,000 times, you'd be sick of hearing me say it. We're definitely not following the 1/3 leaf blade. We're definitely cutting more than that off each time. So there is a little bit of stuff on the top from the recycler, but keep in mind this stuff is still damp as well. So all things considered, so far I've had thick, damp Kikuyu. We've had no clogging in the catcher. We've had quite reasonable mulching abilities considering it's wet and damp. And it's certainly not struggling with length. So let's crack on. There's a lot of reports about not catching properly. Hasn't been a problem today. Mulch is great. Probably mulch better if it was drier, but that's how it is. You could probably run over us again this afternoon. It was totally dry. There'd be no concerns. We'll go around the side now and we'll side discharge. So pretty straightforward when chucking on this thing. Got a little safety catch here. We'll lift him up. Locks into place. So remember, we've got to have our mulching we're going to have a lever in the mulching position, and yeah, let's see how it side discharges. We might be able to go back down a little bit here because around the side it's a bit of a finer grass, and yeah, we might just get a bit sneaky and go a little bit lower. Righto, that's really interesting, and I'd say it's because when I'm coming up I'm throwing into the long grass, but it actually has clogged on the side discharge. I thought it would have clogged bagging, but anyway, there you go. But as I said, it's probably more operator error, so we might just adjust the way I do this and go around the other direction. Okay, so this stuff that we're cutting here is really still wet, and I reckon you could nearly squeeze a bit of water. Well, there you go, squeeze a bit out of it. So is displaying a little bit of clogging on the side discharge function. Shouldn't be much of a problem once we get back out a little bit into this bit of Cooch or Bermuda, wherever you're from. Okay, so we've done the whole area. Let's just see what we've got left in this battery now, and just see if there's enough in it left just to run over this area of side discharge again, just to clean it up. So we'll just have a look, see. Okay, so we're down to the last bar. I'm not exactly sure how long that will give us, but since we're only just sort of moving already cut grass, I'd imagine that we'd probably get over this pretty quickly. So I'm just going to run over it now, see if we can get over it before it cuts out altogether. But look, basically we got a thick lawn mowing job done on one charge, and as I said, I'll put the size of the area up on the screen there, so you can see in the real world, in a probably extra heavy than normal test, how this goes. Right guys, well that wraps up this episode of the Toro Recycler, tackling the heavy stuff. Anyway guys, look, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Take it easy, have a great weekend. We'll catch you next time here on the Aussie Lawn.